Good to have you back for episode 22 of Pro Audio Deal or Disaster, where we look at online listings for pro audio equipment and sound systems and talk about the deals, the system configurations, and of course I try to share any memories and stories I have with the gear we see, but the comments and information that you all have added to each episode so far has been incredible. I can't thank you enough for helping to make this series not only fun, but also a great educational resource. This one was listed just 11 hours ago, a fire sale out of Austin, Texas. Live sound gear from One World Theater. If you're familiar with that place, let us know. And they're asking $7,000 for a whole boatload of gear. Let's have a look. Professional production inventory acquired from the renowned One World Theater. This is a massive high-end gear package priced for an immediate buyout. Everything is rack mounted and was pulled from a professional working environment. Perfect for a venue upgrade, production company, or church. Strictly local pickup. I will not ship this gear. You got to have a truck and labor in Austin. So we're looking at a pair of these Midas Pro 2 consoles, an identical pair of those. They've also got a Midas DL251 stage box. It's a 48 input by 16 output box. There's a Midas DL231 active splitter and a Midas DL151 I/O rack. A Clark Technic DN9650 network bridge. That's the Matty Dante network interface. And then they've got a rack full of wireless gear here. I think we saw it. There it is. And that includes some wireless gear from Audix and Shure, both the ADS48 antenna distro, some Shure SLX, some Audix R42 receivers, and then Shure PSM 300 IEM transmitters. You've got QSC power amps in the drive rack there, and a 54-channel RAM latch snakehead here. There are 5 QSC PLX24 2 amps in that rack, one 1602, and then a pair of PL8 power conditioners. There it is. Sorry, I'm flicking through these photos kind of fast, trying to line them up with what I'm reading here. And we've got a Beta 58, a Beta 52, a 91A, 7 57s, 6 SM58s, a pair of 81s. They've got an Audio-Technica 23, a 25, 3 29s, a pair of the large diaphragm 4040s, and a pair of 871s, 4 MD504 Sennheisers, a pair of 835s, a couple of 604s and one 609, an OM5 from Audix, a D550 from AKG, and an MC0112 from Octava. Is it Octava? Octava? I think it's Octava. And then they've got a listing here of some of the wireless microphones and packs and maybe some transmitters and receivers. I'm not really sure how that all breaks out. Backline gear, though. We've got presumably a set of Tito Puente signature timbales. We've got a pair of Motif workstations, both the ES8 88 key weighted and a 76 key, and then a PDP Blackout 14-inch maple snare drum. And again, it is an as-is, where-is sale. They prefer to sell it as a complete package, and you've got to come and pick it up, obviously. So yeah, what do you think? $7,000 seems like a heck of a deal for all that. Now, they didn't say it was all tested, but they did say it came out of a working environment, which is kind of the audio gear equivalent of it ran when I parked it. So your mileage may vary on that one. But this stuff all looks like it's in excellent condition and would probably have quite a bit of life left in it still. So what do you think? I know there's going to be a limited amount of people that are interested in a pair of Pro 2s, but the other Midas gear and the Backline gear and the microphones, there's definitely some money there. Would you pay the $7,000? Would you make an offer? Do you think this guy's going to get bids over that?
You're watching Channel 58.
We're in Corpus Christi,
Gracias, Corpus Christi! Yeah!
Texas, here for a professional sound system / front of house rig. Powerful sound system, excellent condition, never used. Never used? Perfect for large church, road system, club, or any live venue. JBL and Crown, 4 2x15 subs, 2 2x10 plus high-frequency driver, 2 8-space racks with 2 Crown 4002 XTI amps plus power distribution and in and out panels in each, 2 additional JBL high-frequency drivers on 70-degree radials. Where do we have a photo of? Oh, I guess that's those up the top there, huh? Looks like some community parts up there, right? Yeah. All necessary cables, including speakers, snakes, two 30-foot CBI 8x4 stage boxes, flexible stage stringer, a Midas MR18, not an XR, digital mixer, and he's saying this will run on one 15-amp circuit. Built as an outdoor system, coated in bed liner, has aluminum grills. It's configured as an aux-fed sub configuration, sold as a system, will not part. It's set up and ready to demonstrate and sounds impressive. So there's the amp rack with the I/O panel and the trip light power strip there. These are the very top boxes here with the JBL 2445J mounted in the box and wired to some speak-on. There's our power quad boxes and some stage snakes. Looks like they've got output tails on the quad boxes there as well, right? And here it all is again, back in the living room. Sure is clean. I like the effort and intent behind it. Someone has obviously put a lot of their time into putting this all together, and if it really has never been used, that's kind of a shame.
This is the television seal of good practice, symbol of this station's observance of the principles set forth in the television code of the National Association of Broadcasters.
Heading over to Santa Clara, California for an Apogee sound system, and this is a full system with cables and cases and everything, and if you are old enough to remember ever doing a gig with one of these systems, I hope your knees and back feel better than mine do these days. We have an Apogee system for sale. Prices are as listed, but willing to entertain offers or trades for a box truck. All right. System 1, picks 1 through 4. Okay, 2 systems on the chopping block. 4 Apogee AE5 tops in cases. Love that. 2 Apogee AE10 subs with dolly boards and covers. 1 amp rack with Apogee and DBX processing. And that's very important that you have the black box processing for these AE5s. You do not want to run these without that. And we've got a Macrotech 2400, 5000, 12,000 HD for the subs. All pre-wired with a Motion Labs distro we can see at the top here. So you just plug in your console and your speakers, NL4 and Mars Array Flyware included. 10K for the package we're looking at here, and that's pictures 1, 2, close up there on the amp rack, 3 on the back. There's the Apogee processing I was talking about that you need, and that actually becomes your output panel for your left and right tops there on that processor. So that's pretty convenient to have them around back like that, right? And picture number 4, just the subs and some NL4 cable. So let's move on to system 2. Oh, wait a minute. There may be a third system. Hold on. Okay, so this is system, wait a minute. So picture number 5 here is a monitor package of 4 of the Apogee monitors in cases, plus a Crown Macrotech amp and the Apogee processor there. And that's set up for 2 channels on 4 wedges for $1,100. Let's go to pictures 6 and 7, and that would be system 3, right? And that's going to be 2 AE5 tops with a case and an amp rack for those. Yep, there we go again with a Macrotech and an Apogee processor and a power strip. And then finally, picture 8 is this system here that we were looking at for a pair of the AE5 tops. And yeah, they are putting a sub here. The sub is not pictured. There's a single 18-inch sub, amp rack here with Macrotech and iTech amps, DBX processing. We've got Apogee processing as well, and a Furman power strip. And they've got that listed for $4,000 for that package. So if we add those up, we're looking at $10,000 plus $4,000 plus $1,700 plus $1,100. But they say take all for $13K, and you get all the spare parts and spare processors and all the extra NL4 they've got. Feel free to make an offer for some or all. They used to be our primary speakers, but have been only used for backup or when we needed more as we upgraded to Meyer sound systems. Pick up in Santa Clara, California, cash, Venmo, or Zelle. What do you think about all that? This isn't a terrible looking batch of stuff, and I think a lot of the rack gear would get used regardless. You know, you can never have too many Motion Labs power distros. Those are always going to be applicable to our world.
WXIN operates microwave link WHS 682. We invite you to tune in tomorrow for Indiana's best television.
Check this one out. I know I show a lot of large format analog consoles on this channel, but it's kind of rare, honestly, to see an actual PM5000 in a full package like this on Marketplace. Usually these end up on the bigger like Sound Broker or 10K used gear type, actual professional brokerage sites. So this one's $2,000, listed 4 weeks ago in Chicago. Massive professional Yamaha mixing console, PM5000 from the mid-2000s, all analog. This is the 52-channel version. Was well cared for by professionals in a university setting. Very nice. Stored in Rode tour case for the last several years after being decommissioned. Functionality is untested and sold as is. All switches and dials and gauges appear to be present and in good shape. It includes 6 console lights, an original rolling Rode case with the doghouse and a protective cover. Power supply not included. Oh man, they were doing so well. What happened to the power supply? Console is currently in northern Michigan and buyers responsible for pickup, arranging courier. They can assist with a forklift. That's handy. $2,000 or best offer. If it's unsold by mid-February, it'll be torn down for parts and scrap. Oh no. Don't hesitate. They also have a PM4000 available. So that's a real shame. There's no power supply. And I wonder, are they just listing the power supply? They're not just listing the power supply separately, are they? That would be a terrible way to go. Yeah, they don't have the power supply listed at all. So $2,000 is a fever dream for a console like this with no power supply. Clara has this package listed on eBay right now for $5,700 plus freight or local pickup. And they maintain their stuff well. But this one comes with 2 of the correct power supplies. So that's a working, functional console that you could actually take out and use from a reputable seller like Clara. And 10K Used Gear has this package here for $8,400, but again, with double power supplies and the correct cabling and everything working and tested. And this one on 10K Used Gear is a 56-channel version, so that's why it's a little more expensive. But let me know if you think I'm way off the mark and if you think $2,000 is fair for a 52-channel frame, essentially for parts or scrap. All right, check this one out. Amcron macro reference amplifier. Looks to me like this one's been resprayed, right? Somebody's painted this. And this is listed as the, designed for commercial use, but, so is everything that Crown made, really. This almost looks like it was made for lab use or some sort of scientific purpose, possibly. So if you know anything more about these macro reference amps and why this one is so big when it's only 760 watts per channel, let us know what they were doing with these reference series amps that was so special. The Amcron Macro Reference is a powerful and versatile power amplifier designed for commercial use. It boasts 760 watts per channel output into 8-ohm loads, making it suitable for powering large speaker cabinets, subwoofers, and main monitor speakers. The amplifier's 120 dB dynamic range and high power output make it a top choice for audiophiles and professional musicians alike. Its washable dust filter and quiet fans inside the amp ensure longevity and performance. Okay, they're just like copying this off of some old marketing materials. Yeah, I'm not going to keep reading that. And around the back, we can see that it does take the cards that a lot of Crown amplifiers take. So I would assume you could swap this out and put a different type of input card into this one as well. And then without the card, you've got just balanced 1/4-inch inputs and binding post outputs here. And this amplifier does support being put into a bridge mono mode. And to get the output of that, of course, you would use the 2 red terminals on the binding post. And this one was just taken into a local shop, it looks like, and they paid $300 for this piece of paper that says it is a certified working amplifier. So they've had it looked over by a shop here in Indiana, Elkhart, Indiana, it looks like. I wonder, what does it say they've done here? Found the LED is open, also found 1 pin and 1 display ribbon cable not seated. They've repaired that, cleaned the pots and switches, tightened some wiring. They did a bench test. So yeah, they just gave it a good going over, reseated some cables, fixed a few LEDs, it looks like, cleaned it up, got it all put back together, charged them $10 for a new air filter. That's funny. And I believe on these ones, you would have just taken the front cover off here and removed this air filter, which would probably cost about a couple dollars to buy a larger sheet and cut a new piece to put in there. But yeah, if you have somebody else do that for you, I guess $10 is pretty fair, right? So yeah, this seller seems to deal quite regularly in pro audio gear, so I'd have to assume he's got a reason to ask $2,000 for that one. Here's a listing to compare to on Reverb from a few years ago at $1,500 that did not sell. And the important thing to notice here is how the original paint job looked on these. It was a much more matte black finish than the rattle can job that is on this one. And having done just a brief search on these, they keep popping up on Stereophile and Hi-Fi forums. So I think that's probably what's driving the price up. Those guys will shell out money for anything.
WMC-TV is owned and operated by the Scripps Howard Broadcasting Company and telecasts on Channel 5 from Memphis, Tennessee.
I feel like there was a time there where everybody was DIYing subkicks, but I'm not sure I've seen any that were quite this minimalist. They literally took a mic clip and screwed it onto the speaker and then soldered on some wires and zip tied them, and that's a custom build. $150 goes a long way towards buying you a pretty decent kick drum mic. And there's no shortage of used subkicks and similar, new and used products on the market. If you're spending a couple $100, I would look for something a little more substantial than an NS10 speaker stuck on a mic stand adapter.
WSJV, an equal opportunity employer.
This is a pretty cool listing out of Spokane, Washington, and you'd obviously really have to have a specific purpose for these, but the listing is for 4 of the horn-loaded EVH 1152D speakers in the 99 model, which is a 90 by 90 pattern, and they make these in a whole bunch of different coverage patterns. But these ones here, they're asking $2,500 for 4 of these. And yeah, we can see over here on B&H's website, they're a special order item, but you can get them in a 40 by 30, 60 by 40, 60 by 60, 90 by 40, 90 by 60, or the 90 by 90 option that they're selling. And you can see $3,600 a piece. And these are a weatherized, like 13 ply Baltic birch cabinet. These are a very high quality box. And there's fly hardware and all sorts of different accessories available for these as well. So that's a pretty reasonable listing. It says these are premium 15-inch coax horn-loaded loudspeakers, a lot of the stuff we've already talked about, and they say they can ship. They're in Spokane, and it looks like these are 160 pounds a piece. Is that right? That seems like a lot. Is that actually the spec on these? Goodness. Okay, B&H has them listed at 75 pounds a piece. That sounds much more realistic. And you can see on these there are fly points all over where you can take these M10 bolts out and add fly hardware. And on the back panel, we can see one of the few spots of wear along with one of the fly points that they were using, along with some instructions here as to how to properly use these fly points. On the input side, we've got like Euroblock style connectors, so you don't have to deal with Speakon. And I would imagine for shipping these, they would need to be put onto at least 2 pallets. If you ship them like this and just like wrap them, they would get destroyed. Yeah, you're going to be looking at a couple of pallets worth of freight there, but otherwise that's a smoking deal if you actually are in the market for something like this. Heading down to Austin, Texas for this one, and this is an SRX 700 series system in pretty nice looking condition and $5,500 listed 3 weeks ago. They're saying JBL surround sound system ready to use. 2 main speakers with 2 subs with Crown and QSC amplifiers, as well as power drive. I guess they meant the DSP there on the power drive. And they say it works great. I'm selling the system as a unit, not individual parts. Looks like 725 tops with 728 subs. An Allen & Heath PA12 CP mixer. And those are a fine mixer for what they are. You get 2 PLX 3102 amplifiers, 2 Crown XS900 amplifiers, and one DBX Drive Rack PA, and one Tascam CDRW 750, which is kind of dating the whole setup along with the Odyssey carpet-covered case. You know, if you could negotiate down from $5,500 a little bit and sell off things like the CDRW and the analog mixer and this carpet-covered case and whatever else you don't need, I'd love to hear from anybody that has bought or sold SRX 700 series speakers anytime recently, what the market is like for those nowadays, because those always held their value well back when I was familiar with them, but they are probably getting a little bit old at this point. Just want to take a moment to make a quick appeal to anybody that might have old sales catalogs or dealer catalogs or price sheets or advertisements or any sort of ephemera related to the pro audio world, microphones, speakers, anything like that. If you would be willing to either scan them or take photos or send them over so I can do that and add them to the Internet Archive, that would be an amazing help in this series. Specifically anything from the 80s, 90s, or 2000s, because it's getting really difficult to find any of this stuff online. It's just really not being preserved in any place that I know of anyway. So if you have any of this kind of stuff laying around and you'd be willing to help out, reach out to me either in the comments or directly. I'd love to talk to you. Thanks.
KTSM TV, Channel 9 in El Paso, Texas. That's us.
We've got an EV Xline line array system, full turnkey package for $35,000, or roughly one new 2025 Ford F-150 XL. This one's got a whole lot going on, so let's take a closer look. Complete turnkey EV Xline line array PA system. The system is ready to use. Plug in and go. Only item it does not include is power. I love that. Included in the listing are 12 of the XV-LS tops, 4 of the XV-LT tops, 16 subs, 2 fly bars, 2 parts only X-Fill speakers, can quote to purchase and install parts to get working, reach out if interested, 9 carts for the speakers, 6 of the amp racks, which I think we're looking at one of those here. That's got to weigh an absolute ton. My goodness. 1 front of house rack, that might be this. I could do without the Alesis Masterlink CD burner, but I absolutely love the APB mix switch here in the front of house rack. We also get 2 cable cases, 1 monitor case with monitor, 1 box of miscellaneous hardware, chains, hinges, etc. Amps included in this sale are Electrovoice P3000RL, which allow operation over Ethernet to modify and adjust settings and levels. Very nice. This PA system was used by a nationally touring production company up until the last couple of years. It is fully functional and ready to go. Only shows signs of road use, storage, and transport. All damage is cosmetic. Amp rack cases are in need of some TLC, but fully protect components and work as intended. Cable cases, which I don't think are specifically called out, but there are a lot of cases in these photos and they all look fine. This kind of looks like a cable trunk of the appropriate vintage, and I would assume these are the carts. Comes with all necessary cabling to connect all the speakers and subs, including W1 cabling. I'm not sure what's going on with this very well-protected monitor and keyboard setup. Okay, so here's a PC here that probably goes with that monitor and keyboard and mouse, and maybe that's just what they're using to do the DSP. I think nowadays we'd probably just throw a laptop at that instead of rack mounting a PC and going to all that trouble, but again, for the time, I'm sure this was a very capable system that they put together, and it's probably made them a lot of money over the years. 35 grand, what do you think? Would you make an offer?
KTXL Sacramento, California is owned and operated by Camellia City Telecasters and transmits on a frequency of 626 to 632 megahertz with a visual affected radiated power of 3.476 megawatts.
If you've built out an in-ear monitor system for a small tour before, let me know if you think this is a good deal here. We got a Pro Audio IEM plus mix rack, RF Venue Shure X32 package, $3,300 listed 6 days ago in Denver. Complete professional IEM and control rack for touring bands, production companies, or houses of worship. This is a turnkey RF plus mixer solution, professionally built, cleanly wired, and in excellent condition. Just needs body pack receivers. Oh no, no receivers. Did they steal this from somebody? You get an X32, you get an RF Venue Combine 4 combiner, you get an RF Venue CP beam directional antenna, you get 4 PSM 300 transmitters in the H band, a 16-channel XLR patch panel, a 1U power conditioner that's around here in the back, and then this anvil case. All gear is fully functional, clean, and excellent condition. The rack has been professionally used and properly maintained. This is a serious pro-level RF and monitoring rig. If you know what this is, you know the value. Price is listed to move and firm at $3,000 for the full rack. So what do you think's going on there? They've got all of this, but no receivers. But yeah, let me know if you think that's weird or a good deal, or if you're missing any in-ear monitor equipment in the Denver area.
KTXL TV 40, signing off the air, ending another schedule of broadcasting. KTXL Sacramento, Stockton, California is owned and operated by Camellia City Telecasters and transmits on a frequency of 626 to 632 megahertz with a visually effective radiated power of 5 megawatts, as authorized by the Federal Communications Commission, Washington, D.C. Studios and offices are located at 4655 Fruit Ridge Road in Sacramento, and our transmitter is located 2 miles north of Walnut Grove. Sound and picture are relayed by microwave station KMV 49. KTXL returns to the air this morning at 6 o'clock. Until then, we wish you a pleasant evening. KTXL is a member of the Association of Independent Television Stations.